Taje Cheche Give Sonamangi Dola Benjire Sangi Ndobar Zanji Bege Joshi Medo Dama Zira Nishe Tengembo Sangi Shindo Mide Mewa Ye Ndobe Namda Shinla Shembara Wanda Ye Keba Chewara Samye So Chuden Zeje Guru Mandala Gamne Yanda Ya. Thank you. Come on. So like usual, please listen to the upcoming teaching with the proper motivation, which is the what we call the Mahayana motivation, which is to attain enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. So with this, whatever practice we do, whether it's small practice, what we call small practice, or big practice, great practice, if we have the great motivation, then the practice itself becomes, even though it seems seemingly it seems like a very minor sort of practice, it becomes with the power of your motivation, with the force of your motivation, the practice can become the practice can become a great practice. It becomes a great practice in the sense that it brings great result of Buddhahood. So our main goal is to attain Buddhahood, whether for ourselves or for others. So the practice that brings Buddhahood, that is the greatest practice. So therefore, even if we do recite just one mantra, which we may seem very easy and similar, or if you just give one coin to a beggar, if you do it with the motivation that this will help the beggar to attain the beggar as well as yourself to attain enlightenment, this will be very helpful. I will tell you one example. Maybe you have heard of this story regarding, I'm going to make it short story, the story of, in Tibetan we call the Tangmo Lujin, which means giving body to the tigress. So back in the day, there was a bodhisattva, that's thousands of years ago, many millennia ago. There was a bodhisattva who was a prince as well. So he ventured into the forest. Actually, they were hunting, and then that's what kings and royal families do back those days. So he went to the forest, and he got lost from his group, and then he saw a family of tiger. And there was a tigress, and then there are a few cubs, maybe 4 or 5 cubs, and the cubs were going all hungry, and then they cannot. The mother is too old to hunt, so she cannot feed the cubs. That's the sight the bodhisattva saw, and the bodhisattva was really motivated. So this is the difference between compassion and let's say depression. So many times when we become depressed or when we become empathetic to people's suffering, most of the time we give up, we lose hope, we break down. But with compassion, of course, there is the sense of emotion, empathetic emotion for others. But at the same time, you become more motivated to do something for them rather than just break down and give everything up. So bodhisattva, that bodhisattva is really motivated to help the beings, the tigress, and so the tigress is too weak to give any milk or anything. So what the bodhisattva did was he brought some So there was a thorn, a bush. There's a thorn in the bush. I don't know the exact name of that thorn. So he brought the thorn and he cut his body. The tigers actually cannot even eat, cannot maul, cannot eat the bodhisattva just like that, because he's too weak. She's too weak. So he cut himself, and then he gives some blood to the tigress. And when the tigress sniffed the blood and drank a little bit of blood, he gained some energy, and then he can finally eat the flesh of the bodhisattva. So he ate the bodhisattva's flesh, and then she gained her energy. She gained her energy, and she could feed. She could milk her cubs. And so at that time, the bodhisattva actually made this motivation or prayer or aspiration, whatever you call it, that today, this time, I'm giving my body, but in future, may I be able to give the generosity. So we call this the practice of generosity. So today, I'm practicing the generosity of giving my flesh, my physical body, but in next life, may I be able to give them the generosity of, practice the generosity of giving not just the ordinary flesh, but the Dharma teaching. And because of that, the bodhisattva became Buddha much later. And those, the mother and the 4 cubs, I think. So 5 of them actually became the first disciples of the Buddha. So at the very beginning, Buddha taught Dharma to 5 disciples. So so this is the story. Yeah. So the motivation plays a key role here. So when the Buddha gave something, when he gave his body, if he gave the body just like that, then it wouldn't amount to much. It's a great act, but that's it. But because he sowed the seed of Buddhahood, then when he became Buddha, when the Bodhisattva became Buddha, he could quench the thirst of Dharma. The very first people to receive the Dharma were those cubs who ate, who took the Bodhisattva's life, who took the Bodhisattva's flesh. So there is a line in the Bodhisattva Charya Avatar, The Way of Bodhisattva by Master Shantideva, which says, which means, may I be able to help those even, may I be able to help those who are willing to harm me even. So in a sense, the tigers, the tiger family, the tigress and the cubs, they ate they ate the Bodhisattva's flesh, which in an ordinary point of view is harming the Buddha, but at the same time, because they made the harm to Buddha's body, because they made the connection with the Buddha, the Bodhisattva, they were able to receive the the Buddha's teaching for the very first time Buddha gave the Buddha's. When the Buddha gave the Dharma, the discourse for the very first time, they were the first disciples of the Buddha, because they eat the Buddha's flesh, Buddha's body. Sorry. Okay. So the prep. Okay. So now the prep talk is finished. Now we will go to the actual teaching. So today's teaching is known as the in Tibetan Rangdu Rangi Chebe Chuchu. So which in English it's translated something as self-deservingly or self-made sufferings. So it means a suffering that you brought upon yourself. So it is a type of suffering. Of course, a lot of there are variations of sufferings. Some of the sufferings were due to other people's malice, other people's evil thought and evil deeds. But some of the many of the sufferings that we incur were due to our own making. So in one point, we can say all the suffering that we are going through is because of the result of our consequence of our karma, and the karma is something that we made. So therefore, you might say that all the sufferings that we go through is self-made suffering, or suffering that we deserve or we made for ourselves. But this is something that that is really, so here what we are talking about is something really foolhardy, something that you could have avoided, but you deliberately chose not to. And so 12 sorry 10 10 things that 10 sufferings that you make for yourselves, you created for yourselves. That will be today's topic. Rangdu rangi chebe chu. So the first thing is that okay, the first thing, I don't know much. Okay, the first point I think you guys know better than me. Anyway, so that the 당부 디디리샤 예 하고 주라고 주면도 랑도 랑게 추추 나로네 당부 디 사메베 킴답 제바데 렘베 제도 세바다 자데 랑도 랑게 녀베 인스 다 사상 메바치니 킴답 송바이나 아니 다 가서 쳐요 말했어야 돼 된다 디레샤 지당 아주 킴답 송스도 전에 김 송스 김상 쌤스도 전에 그걸 가려고 그래. 지소 호랑이 조당턴이 쉐바이네 김상 송세야디 보고 부유 저기 보고 부유 아니 가서 그래. 소용치야 당 아니 답변은 수수 지소 수수기 롱바 수수기 파유스네면 수수기 계급스네면 되게 미소용치야다 지소 소용치야기 제도 저기 지당 전에 쉐바이네 조조 삼로마당바이나 김상 쌤야세야디 들으러 오지라 보고 쇠야기 제도 오지라 인도산에다 보고 쇠바이나 다 산다지 구고요 봐. 교가 있는 김에 있는 교가 구고. 근데 큐니 매바지 다 가서 되게 되바이나 아니 일단 미게 제가 가서 그래. 김배기 잡았대. 처음에 저 중요 말했어야 돼서. 근데 출루가 나올 때도 막 올리기도 돼. 아주 낭배 낭추이 나올지 하고 오면데 낭 출루 여러 봐. 답변은 가지 출루, 예수 출루. 아니 힌두다 미세 출루스 다 켈라그라면 아마 산게 바이 추규다 낭추에다 힌두도 소다 때문에 출루는 되나고 두고 연하면 하고 오면도 이내야 간다 출루 나올다 출루를 줘봐 인진당 셰벤다 organized religions이로 왔다 지금 그거 보지 여바당 되게 떠도 차고 주요에 돈에 지속기 삼로 지속 가서 계승치하게 삼로 숙천부 유세기다 출루 되게 나올 때 배숙천부 내야지래. So the first point I have I do not know much. So the first thing it says here is that okay, I'm just going to read it first and then let's see. To live a life of a worldly person without a wife is like a fool taking poison to suffer himself. I don't know, you tell me if that is true or not. I think it comes from more of a religious background. I, for myself, do not consider Buddhism as a religion, as a religious organization per se. So I believe Buddhist, just like Hinduism, is a value system, is a way of life and a value system. So you can be a Christian and practice Buddhism. You can be, you can. So from my point of view, so there are two ways of looking at it, of course. When you go very, very philosophical and technical, you can say, oh, someone who is Hindu is not a Buddhist and Buddhist is not a Hindu, like that. But then you can think of the way in which a Buddhist is someone who has the utmost faith in the triple gem. So if you have utmost faith in the triple gem, then you can still practice. You can practice. You can call yourself a Christian or whatever. But if you have utmost faith in the Buddha Dharma and Sangha and the Buddha Dharma and the Sangha, then you are a Buddhist. So anyway, so I'm not going to digress. So my point here is that I think it comes from the first topic comes from sort of like organized religious point of view, in which religion plays a key role in supporting a society. So when you and the main goal or point of a society is to sustain the generation. So when there's a couple or when there's the main goal of all the main duty of all the members of the society is to make more children, so the society, that particular society, will sustain and then will have and it will flourish. So that is the sort of the ordinary point of view as the duty of member of the duty of person from the perspective of a society. So in this regard, religion, so that is what I think. Anyway, so I'm not going to talk much about this. Let's go to the next point. So yeah, let's stop here, please. Sorry. So anybody, sorry. So anybody 가려서 나 취미 이거 제가데 녀미 양라 총하다데 아니 되면 봐 인스. 어디 더 vegetation 망보고 말해서 것도 맞아 들어봐. 덴로다 년로 가서 덴로다 토리다 아니 년로 니어봐 년로 동에다 토리다 년로 니어봐. 다 야줘야라 개와 주고 거래. 아니 마 조고에나 다 디바사고 거봐. 디바사는 마 조고래 개와사는 야 조고래. 다 제사 최 마체바체 다 최스도 전에 심규 먼저 낭슈나니 셰바이나 심규 되어들 최스체래. 다 도도 최스야. 조조 세바 규주 나와들 최스체 된다 들어봐. 다 심규대 가상의 슈베인 단 나고네 까버치야. 마통원이 통살치야. 고톰선에 톰상살치야. 다 딜이야 최스고래. 디인도 전에 어디 최세야디 최 마체바이나 최 마체바의 직체 마체바의 제야지 니도아 최 마체바체 디바 제야시 최 마체바 디바 제바 최면 디바 제바데 녀바 양을 총마다 잡아 지거 레스타 녀바 생야디다 까토마로 그랑 같이 지르고 봐 그랑 팽교 유뉴고 고디 베게 다바 있나 가르치고 메도 코람 셈기 소소 당진체 도고요 말아 디 제바이나 갈 마기바 용고리 디 제바이나 갈 기부 용고리 했으면 소소 당진 제마도도 전에 아니 가주마주랑 안 차나 지겨 제사 단 녀바스도 있다 데도 주와 어디래 so point number 2 is live a life. So there is something that you do and there is something you are not doing. So if you remember that Buddha's teaching, the 4 line, right? Do not do any unwholesome deed. Gather a wealth of virtue, and this is the teaching of the Buddha. So that is the line. So point number 2 says, devoid of dharma to commit negative deeds, right? So you are doing something and you are not doing something. What you are doing is all negative deeds. What you are not doing is dharma. So if you commit to that, if you commit yourself to that, doing negative things and not doing positive things or spiritual things or dharma practices, then you have become like a mad person, jumping into jumping from a height, jumping from a cliff. So madman or a crazy person usually has no control over his or her own well-being. So similarly, you have no control over what is good for you, what is best for you, what will bring you happiness, what will bring you suffering. You have no idea, and therefore you have no control over that. So that that is bringing suffering upon yourself. So that is the second point. The number somebody Shiela Suso Chebate the source to Sulsa to touch the source to that Kakare, in that Domdo Jabaina, Tadi Dachabuchia, the main Dochia said to the Digal Pabore, Sulsena Yimbala Mahimbala Yim Sulsa. 당가서 요주세야 되더라고요. 요당 균이 지나 밥서 찍으러 가서 그래. 도도시도 찍어 봐고 할때 요새도 전에 힘바디 마인도도 쳐야 되라. 요르와. 아니 마인바지 인도도 쳐야 되라. 뉴스 요르와. 어디 전에 요주세야 돼. 소소다도 된다 밥서 찍어래. 다 도도시나 소소라 유네 매교디 요도도 쳐야. 균 요교디 매도도 쳐야 다 밥서 뒤로 봐고 할. 제가 소소 쳐봐도 두지다 간다마다 민상 먹고 고 말아. 인도 전에 타마 될라 미가 하고 주고래 최선다 타서 요 말에서 해야 돼. 니마 아리슨지 주루고 지겨랬다. 쿠란 아브라함 린컨 시로 쿠란게 러브. 키랑게 밋 상말로 주주 찍라 교화당 고가당 도도 하브레스. 아니 밋 찍라 뒤딱도 교화당 고가당 도도 하브레스. 이내야 뒤딱바르시 밋 상말로 가디오 고가당 두 말에서 라베졌다. 삼삼라 미 강갈 고가당 도레스. 아니 미카셰라 딱 봐고 오다 도레스 이네 미 창말라 뒤따도 고고 나면 다 도마레스 해야죠. 네 배제 밥서 도 잡으라 그래. 세상 대 제바에랑 도랑이 뉘어버레스 해야 돼. So point number 3 is that deceiving others with undue pretensions is like taking the poisoned food to suffer oneself. So the thing is that no matter how much you try to deceive others, eventually people will find out. And when they find out, they will. So therefore, one needs to be wary of such events. You can. I was just recalling the quote from the 16th president of the United States, which was Abraham Lincoln. So he said this line. I think it rhymed. It suits very well here. So he said, "You can fool all the people once or something. You can fool all the people one time. Is it one time or at a time? I forgot the exact line. You can fool all the people sometimes, and you can fool all the people sometimes, and you can fool some people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time." So if you keep pretentious acts, eventually people will find out, and when your flaws or faults, or when people find out that you are deceiving them, then they will no longer entrust in you. So it is bringing undue suffering for yourself by deceiving others. You may think that you are the smartest person out there because you can fool somebody, but that is not always the. There is always the chance that people will find out someday, and then even if people do not find out, the karma will certainly find out. The karmic dues will always be there. So there is no escape from that. somebody shibadi lechung mi ben chebate gemye chulu kyongwa dan ta de rangdu rangi cheba yins ta mi namjue menge leba menge de kitab bombo cheba ina ta di ta mi samsam kashi mi pyejo dange도 되게서 되죠 저거 임바이나 다 민 가수로 leba menge namjue menge do dun tön chuche 아니 민 남주에 있는 것도 잡을 때네 아니 가서 어떻게 제시해야 있네 자 이게 제야 있네 다미 레버시라 명예도 줄라 아니缺지그래缺시에 두고도缺치 두고도缺가르 쇼가래 랍지 눈 된주지 근데 내가 치 주고요 봐 다디 가서 그래 지도 강한나는 용대야 줘 봐 어디랬다 다디 소소 삼발라 소소 시오지 가인 챙겨요 봐 아니 니네 동어 돌아 미기 표적 당디겨 소송원의 남주 영예 제바이나 다 도도시나 미기 표적 당모도 해치고 그래 세야들이 디인두선에 레중 가스나 뼈보세야디 지야 레라고요 말와 가 뼈보세야디 제사요 주고 될라 미 망고 쇼지기 긴키고 와봐 남주변나 김상지기 긴킹에도 샤샤바 있네야 다 가서 그런 거이나 김다스로와 다 변나 사상으로 있는 김다도다 김상한테 나오러 우이킹에 쪼어도 될 김다스요라 교가 있는다 김에 있는다 또 나가뭐 있는 거죠 교가 시작 지겨 다 이네 김다스도 전에 김상한테 나오러 쪼즈가리야 칼라봉겐 쪼어들 김다스요다 디인도 전에 김다지 제바 있네 갈래디가 수도스네 딱 초바지기 답보스네면도 초바지기 초변스네면도 아니 숑지기 숑변세야다 딜리샤 딜라고 추는 말와 근데 얘는 아주 셰나셰디고 쇼 남교 자갈 시수죠 딱 자가 나올라 자가기 개부스레라 되잖아요 자동가는 땡에 자동제 땡에 근데 여러분 군주를 했어 또 니마질도 주제 기고 주주양한테 도스체 강바디 되로시다 아니 건수 자동제 니만 인간 계제시제 잠불린 가르치고 위에 가 잠불린 가르쳐 주셔 땅고 요면 가르쳐 요면 남을 가르쳐 그래 까마 가르쳐디 남을 가르쳐 땅고 요면 참아 건수를 되시게 하여 그래서 야가기 개봉문에 대 건수를 해서 자동제 댕에 내가 매겨둔 소리 해서 제가 주셔서지요 다 뒤로 차로 지걸 다 도도 쉐베나 문에 잔액이 뭔가지기 따보다 꼴 댕에 해야 돼 갈라 가고 쇼저레스 그래서 계시 그냥 남주에 매바 있네 미기 그냥 뼈 먹고 이것도나 그때 그냥 배주 당하지도 해서요 So the fourth point, I think, is that to entrust the leadership to a man of little intelligence is just like asking an old woman to guard the cattle. So the thing is, it is a self-accomplished suffering. So old woman here refers to the fact that a geriatric woman, a person, an elderly person will not be able to walk well, will not be able to see well, and so therefore will not be able to cater to the cattle. So similarly, if you entrust the leadership of your company, of your organization, of your whatever, to someone who is who's mentally not well built, well matured, then it is not going to be. Then it is a foolhardy job. So if you take the position as someone who is not matured well enough, that is a foolhardy job. If you entrust the leadership to someone who has not matured well, that is a foolhardy thing to do from your side. So it's and another thing is, of course, because becoming a leader is not easy. Whether you take a small example, becoming a leader of a class or a leader of a family. So back in those days, we say something. In English, we have a term called breadwinner, right? So whether it's women or men, doesn't matter. Whoever brings the food on the table is called the breadwinner. So the breadwinner, to become the breadwinner, is usually the leader of the family who makes decisions for the wife, for the children, and so on and so forth. To become the breadwinner or the leader of a family is not easy, right? You have to toil hard, you have to speak to people, you have to socialize, and so many things. And the same goes to becoming the leader of an organization, leader of a country, or so on and so forth. So it's very easy to pinpoint point to someone and say, oh, he's not doing right, this and that, and this and that. But when it comes, if you are put on that position yourself, then do you think you can actually do differently? And do you think you have a solution to a problem that has been rotting for at least 40, 50, 100, 200 years, sometimes 1,000 years, such as problems of greed, bribery, the problems of sexual assault, so which is, it dates back to thousands of years. It's not something new. We see those things nowadays a lot because we have the media, we have the internet, so we see a lot of sexual assaults, we see a lot of corruption cases and so many things. But this is not something that popped up within last decade or so. It has been there since centuries. Actually, in the I don't know in other texts, but in the Hindu text called the Rig Vedas, they speak of bribery, and the Rig Vedas are supposed to be at least 6,000 to 7,000 years old. So bribery and corruption, these things are not new problems. So if you think just by sitting on the chair yourself, and then you can overnight turn everything from black to white, that is quite an outlandish, optimistic aspiration.
The last, of course, I can hear.
The what? Oh, so what I meant is that if you think that just by sitting, well, you can easily accuse others of not doing their job well, but do you really think, you have to always think whether if you are put on the same spot, if you are put on the leadership, the position of the leader, can you do it differently? Do you have a solution to that or not? If you do not have a solution, if you're just ranting, if you're just complaining, then it's better not to do so. So this is from a Buddhist practitioner's point of view. No? 다들 라섬기 신전은 민전 벌을 최예기 랑전은 좀바니 롱아 창당을 코아단 다들 랑도 랑기 제바 인스타디 자주 선배 줘봐다 this 대응도 다디나로라 냠랭기 rig 망고치 망쳐지 가서 년도 줘봐다 퇴마요 가서는 아주다 이나 태고 중요 줘봤으네 면도 데려러 오지가 야 줘봐 릭직디 자주 선배 줘봐다 대응도 아니 참라 아니 다 상아도지 대비 줘봐다 되네요 용어도 근데 배나 이담을 하고 뭐야 다 송아 사고야 디스티스 거라 담아 용어도 와 단다 조 다다디디리셔 자주 선배 줘봐다 되네래샤 지당 아주다 미 패바지 남주기 지댕이 돈에 쉐바 했나다 소소다 ran전 주고를 마도 신요 예바 돌아도 오지 기시기요 봐 따이네 최저 돈에다 사과도 최저 돈에 신나 그거 가르스나 신년 뒤조다 ran전 샤라 ran전디 샤라 바샤고 다 자주 선배 줘봐가 랩스나 다 대회 대장이네 아니 신년 조지고 가르스나 가 자주 선배지기 가서 미유 털도 저거디 심징 좀 상기 고방 토배데 디 인도전에 아니 신들만 템벌 로산에 배송자 다디 조차고 디 인도전에다 항섬기 신들만 미즈음 빠르스 항섬 남도 돈 학배 삼바스도 전에 소소를 한게 전다 전에들 하야스케요 말 남주지 하더라 탁스도 전에 때 네가 좀 학섬기 학디 가리용 거스나 소설을 하스 미 신기 좀 삼모다나들라 학섬세야다 이제 아니 지속적으로 삼모다야 수수 직보고 전다 삼모마다 수수 김상 직보도 수수기 삼카시 레그로 나랑 된다면 다스 나랑 김상 된다 나랑 직지 된다 인스 레그로 이 인바이네 소소가 제 소소를 기부 수행해지 미기체도 레디오로 와 디인도전에다 디디레 어디래 단 인도전에 학습기 신존한 미전 버스 아니 최계기 랑존을 좀 받는 롱아 장당을 거. 단 최계기 왕도 송체 지된 최계기 왕도 송체 아니 랑존을 쬐서나 다 장당을 거하다 자데 장당을 가지고 오라게 되면 장당을 하대 뭐도 요마로 장당을 콜와다 자데스 장단이 급도를 조심해야 장단 바기엔 줘야 줘봐 네 장단을 꼬르게 되면은 그 재단기 길을 하대 뭐도 다들 가다 대시야 봐 디시겨 so number 5 is not to labor for others benefit through an excellent motivation so the translation here this is the excellent motivation is a translation for the Tibetan term haksam which means special intention or special intention, or maybe you can say excellent, extraordinary intention. I think that is the perfect translation. So there's a term called haksam in Tibetan, which translates for extraordinary intention. So if you are doing it for yourself, for your own sake, you might say, oh, I'm not doing it for myself, I'm doing it for my kids, my children, my family. So these are all the people that will make you happy. If something good happens to your children, you are happy. If something good happens to your wife, you are happy. If something good happens to your family or your country, or you are happy. So you are doing it for your own sake in the end. So ultimately, so if that is the case, then it is not a selfless act. It becomes a selfish act from a strictly Dharma point of view. From an ordinary point of view, from a worldly point of view, oh, that is very good. You have a very patriotic attitude, right? You are doing it for your country. You're doing it for your countrymen. You are doing it for your family. You are very. If you are doing it for your family, you are filial. If you are doing it for your country, you are loyal. You are patriotic. So like that. But from a super mundane, extraordinary, meaning non-worldly point of view, from a spiritual point of view, especially from the Bodhisattva's point of view, this is an ordinary, very, very ordinary thing. So extraordinary means if you are doing it for more than that, if you are doing it without thought for any intention for your own, something to, for any consequences or for any any recognition for yourself, any reward for yourself. If you are doing it with a selfless act, so if you are doing it with the exact opposite of what I just mentioned earlier, then it becomes a selfless act, and that is an extraordinary act, and that intention is known as extraordinary intention. That is the meaning of haksam in Tibet. So if you do not do that, if you do it with a selfish motivation, then it's like roaming in the desert. So no matter how much it doesn't matter how many days or months you roam in the desert, you will still be in the desert, and then you will eventually die there out of thirst and heat. Oh yeah. Tene midrube chawa chembo lanjuwa ni nyamchung kuri chembo kuwa landrade rangdu rangi cheba insta chawa khariji cheba yana sosuyo ki juansuyo baksuyo ki cheba kya chembo shuure 다 semshu US labje 아니 참마치야요 말 배는 아주 다 가서 그래 미국에 저들라 나마 탐지기 고마 상기 고마 누구 요래데 얘네 상기긴 다다라 상기긴 있으니 그 직체샤야 개요 말아 그 태바림제 돈에 관리 공부 제기 쪼거라 다디 미국 배도스네 찍래 나는 아주 배신 바치 샤베나 배는 아주 검제 되잖이네 당보 투인데 나도 시행 되잖아 당보 권한에 검 쉬울 때입니다 배 권한 가서 그래 제시 아니 그 제시 남도 파도드네 검라 미버제주드네 또 지긴은 검되는 검 투마라 검제도서는 타고 튀는 통통되고 남균이 송설이야 아니 가서 그래 튀는 망고 윤 통고스 제시 송겨봐 튀는 망고 튀는 슈슈슈슈슈 망고데 아니 윤이 통도 변나 타고 고조도 가르자 니슈스 가르자 숨주스 까마직스인데 검잡제 아니 디아르르르르 단치다 춘주 망보자네 사바츠고나 신 캄보차보 제도자네 사바 춘주 찌네 아니 캄보차고 얼마도 이게 당보 호라네 캄보도도 딩스 치지 마 키우야 요 말봐 디인도자네 디인도자네 가르슈고래 다 춘주 수수 줍수 박수에게 제네 디사고 요레스 다 베나샤샤베나 니마직라 개와 찍사베나 개와 나 찍모도 마사베나 로직라 개와 숨겨 죽주 담바 사베요라 니마직라 아니 최저기 차와 개자 찍모도 마셔베나 로직라 최저기 차와 개자 숨겨 죽주 차르요라 숨겨 죽주도 개자 개이 강한 개사라 세상 니마직라 냠네 개자 찍 담바 제도바이나야 로직나로라 냠네 좀데 개자 숨겨 죽주 되요 세상 추주 수수 도르저 바서 제와 개자 모레스 밥사디 디바베요 teacher. So now undertaking a great endeavor for impossible tasks like a weak person trying to. So what it means here is that of course one has to be optimistic. One has to be. There's a difference between confidence and overconfidence. Overconfidence actually is a form of, one might say, greed, which is a form of attachment. So you believe so much into yourself because you have attachment towards yourself. So you think you can overperform things that you can actually. There is no feasible explanation that you will feasible explanation and sound logic to back up that you can actually perform those things. So this actually I have been. So there are many instances there where I meet people, very good people who try to help others, and at the same time they are so much depressed. They have been into helping people and doing good things for maybe 20 years, last 20, 30 years, and then they are so depressed. And then they think, everything that they have done has been for waste, for no good, because they don't receive good feedback, no recognition there. And then also some of them are even not seeking that. Some of them are very good. A few of them are actually seeking recognition, which they do not receive after some time. When you help somebody for the first time, they actually thank you and gratitude is there, all that. But after some time, people are very, very, very. Anyway, that's a different subject. So what happens is that they're not only looking for recognition, but they are looking for ways to, for example, if you are looking for ways to eradicate famine in Africa, hunger in Africa, that is, it's a very difficult job. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's a very difficult job. It's so you have to work hard, and it's a step-by-step job. You have to coordinate with a lot of things, a lot of people, the climate and so many other things. The science, it has to be backed up with science. You have to do analysis with the actual climate, and so many things are involved in there. So it cannot be done something within a few years or after a few lab tests or board meetings. If you get dissuaded, if you become discouraged right after, then it's not going to work. So if you aim for something that is impossible to do, impossible to achieve, then it is going to disappoint you. So what you have to do is, even if your goal may be an impossible goal, seemingly impossible, you still have to do it. You still have to break it down into building blocks. For example, if you want a house, you cannot have a house all by itself just like that. You have to start with a building block, brick by brick. You have to lay the bricks. So if you could do that, then you can achieve a lot of things. So our main goal is to become Buddha as a Dharma practitioner, as a spiritual practitioner of the Mahayana tradition, Bodhisattva tradition, or Mahayana tradition. It's the same thing. So And we cannot become a Buddha overnight. We have to go into the right direction step by step. So I think I mentioned that last week. So if you have an input of 1% input of practicing the Dharma perfectly, so if you put in 1% every day, then within a year you are actually having a surplus of 360% of that proper Dharma practices. So which is actually it crossed the limit of 100%. So it's over 100%. So every day if you do Dharma practices 1% correctly, then within a year you are actually having a surplus of 360. So therefore, even the goal may be big, you must not jump into it right away. You should not dive into it right away. You should dissect those things. Just like eating food. You're not going to eat the whole plate, just like you're not going to gobble up things. You're going to cut them into pieces. You're going to make small morsels, and you are going to have a morsels of them to fill your belly. So you're not going to gobble up everything. So it's the same thing with Dharma practice. With any work you do, you have to break them down and do the small things as you could. And the example one we say when we do the meditation, of course the key is to stay in a calm, peaceful state as long as you can. But you cannot stay in, even though the goal may be to stay there as long as you can, which may be 24 hours, 1 month. But if you keep staying like that for 1 month, just like that, it's not going to work. So you have to start small. You have to start morsel by morsel, small amount, which in Tibetan we say which means sessions should be small. Sorry, sessions should be many. Durations should be short. Short duration, many sessions, right? So durations, short. Sessions, many. That is the key to perfect meditation. So what I'm telling here is it is important to break down your goal and then work on it morsel by morsel, like eating food. So you have to eat small morsel, and by morsel you can actually eat 2 plates, 3 plates. I don't know, maybe one big bowl. The whole cauldron you might be able to eat it. But if you try to gobble everything up, then it's not possible. So similarly, one should not be greedy. One should not be greedy in worldly life. One should not be greedy even in Dharma practices. One should practice, because if you become greedy, you cannot accomplish everything within one night, overnight. And then when you cannot do things, when you start practicing with greed, you become greedy with your practices, then when your goal is not met, you become disappointed. You lose your appetite to practice, and then everything is thrown into the drain, and then all the hard works that you have done, everything gone waste. So work on an achievable goal. That's the most important thing. Then tubadi ngarge ki lama tambatang gewe ka kedo sabate wangbuchi du to wa rang du rangi japanese lama su su gewe shinyen sigore gewa su sangi sigore ka kedo seba su zane ngage case la ba so so ngage da kengje de le ndo zane su su shingi yu samchide lama song ba ne da gewe ki kai ne da o dip de mare phanjere la su ko ta me japse dilo paden su den chigro ba 아니 가서 상계다 소소 자외라면 송샤가 되게 딜레 하스 소소로야 고아사오지니 여도도 지지 라메 송도 송도 되네 라메기 디다 디킹에 매마서 여러분 라메기 개미기 킹에 말와 인치킹에 말와 지게를 돈이 말와 아니 돈이 말에 고요 말에서 여러분 되네 킹에 여러분 세상 예지 권유 체니요 지지지 라메 디하고 말에서 여러분 또 대체 되서는 딱 마예랑 차르요 딩기 제제 상계기 까다 라메 클라마 탐바다 상계기가 kedu sesuna kesu chile do senta de ya nangjong dang tongjong dang de ba kedu seba de cheba na wangbo che duma to was wangbo che se da gebo da dombo de ba duma se de senta korang dulam so ro de korang da pusam so ro chine men do korang geben se men do de ko go re da bena derikeso de zo ba na wangbo che se men do bombo da de ge de gi 미망기 거 sonza 미망기 딱 가서 칼은 연구 고요. 진짜 미망기 되가 더 맞은 배 내가 채소나 아니 bomba 권해 쇼트를 쏘고 용기로 봐. 어디 점을 가서 통해야지. 뒤인도 전에 어디다 따지다 집어 차고요. 레스토랑도랑 유니버스 해야들. 가서나 라마 담바당 기회 개와 기회 신인 당 아니 상계 가수는 쓰나 아니 가수 그래. 년전에 된절라 드라이기 탑다 람디 되나요, 봐. 따지 되도 전에 딜레에 캐치해봐이나 딜레에 나눠다 봐이나 딜레 도스다 봐이나 아니 된절에 년전에 된도 줘야 잡라 아니 년전에 년조랑이야 내야마도 요거 말이 있습니다. 대랑도랑 유니버스 number 7 is that so disregarding one's holy guru or teacher, spiritual teacher, and the teachings of the Buddha. So what your spiritual guru teaches is from the authentic teachings of the Buddha. So when you disregard or belittle your teachers, the instructions of your teacher, you are actually belittling the teachings of the Buddha. So what is the gist of Buddha's teaching? We explained earlier. So the gist of Buddha's teaching is to abstain from harming others and gather as much virtue as you can. Commit not any unwholesome deed. First line. Commit not any unwholesome deed. Second line. Gather a wealth of virtue. Third line. Subdue your mind. And fourth line. This is the teaching of Buddha. So these 4 lines is like the the summary of all the Buddha's teaching. So in this regard, so this is what the Buddha taught. Why Buddha said do not commit any unwholesome deed? Because if you commit unwholesome deed, you will suffer. The consequence of committing unwholesome deed will be suffering. The cause and condition, the cause and effect. Unwholesome act unwholesome act causes the effect of suffering. Virtuous act causes the effect of happiness. So the Buddha's teaching is to lead us from suffering to non-suffering, to everlasting peace, which is nirvana. And if you belittle Buddha's teaching, if you belittle disregard your spiritual teacher's instructions, which is to lead you from darkness to light, lead you from ignorance to knowledge, to omniscience. So if you do that, then you are dragging yourself from ignorance to ignorance, from darkness to darkness. Therefore, you are bringing suffering upon yourself. So this is something that one should avoid. That Nyamlen Shune, Minagi Chongla Timbate, Rida Longsu Papa and Rade Rando Rangi Chevayins. That is all Gomshamba Namlia, Damu Yorba, the Gomshamba to the Gomjing. That's the Yamlen shooting at us. And Yamen said, I did not know much of Gomja, which is Codigo Ineta, Yamela, James Gomi, Benyabatiki, Marba. The Handarkan Yamlela. 가족으로 배나 차세야 돼. 냠랭이 절도를 거래야 냠랭이 절도를 송아사야 냠랭이 절도를 짐바 수진 수바 준주 3대 시럽 상만 냠랭이 두고요 봐. 제 다다디 조 고민 공주치야라고 지가라 리처라고 지면做了 做了 송교 다디 고민 개비 되게지 마 총라 마 교침바이나 아니 리다 롱스 바바다 지거레스 라베다 리다 세야디 고치나 리다 세야디 가족으로다 다음에 그러다 되게 지나길래 이게 강한 뒤두전에 거다 지게 랑와다 차상다 쉬어봐. 디마 마바용나니 정배미수 주제 되네요. 디다 도냐야 봐. 디드선 다 조조돼서 대어다 리다 되게 강한 대어레스 이거 했던 것을 표변 남겨 시에서 쉬어봐. 생이 강한 데나 생게다 생이 가서 마용나니 가서 기행 지레서 해줘 봐. 어디 오지 숨겨다. 그래서 냠len 칭에 당 남규네다 직수수 검신다고 냠len 칭에 지레 이제 강한 데나 그 두지양 와서 봐. 이게 용어 유자 아니 지단다 냠곰 냠내서야 돼. 삼론왕로를 해대 이내 치기 코류를 빼라 알려 그러와. 로고 누가 되냐 지금 냠도 돼. 계속 누가 되냐 시행에 되고 지금 마 강고 중에 되고 강한냐도 돼서는 소송면에 아주디 가서 그래. 냠낸 깔래 태바시 지라. 하나 욕수 마 용해 지간에 야 주께자주 조거나 깔래 하고 여러. 주 마용도 냠도 깨자는 전화 돈 되고 여러. 이 인도전에다 이게 강을 찍어지는 대바에다 소소 당분이라 검제해야 될래로 위험 말다. 지금 배졌다. 근데 대체 고아라서 하나하나 용어로 맞도 지게 검제기 검제해서 삼로레스 랍시. 이게 강을 대대와 찍고 이게 동사다지만 개용해야 말다. 디 땅마 로베 가말라실라 별 베두선 게나 하상 게 다와다 디버로 저 쇼용 주선에 저다 가서 그래 이 저거 쇼 용어다지 단 들이켜서 두줄래 있는 집안단 일본도 와라 디 숙성부 두고요 다다로 된 좋다 일본 지고 제가 말면 뭐지기 또 동대고 통교요 바깔래 야고 말로선 제고 말에 가서 그래 먼저 대신 시가 식사야지 요르스 두선에 상기에서 나로를 얘기해 버체 근데 도스체지 곰고 대발 거라거라 마직 톱라니 빼막 같이 하나씩 톱세야 유교로 삼당지 나는 내년 기부되는 거 어떤 게 열봐 동대고 열봐 딜레 갈래 겨 아니 델레야 뭔가 쇼지기 클로존체 아니 델레야 아니 지바 준주서 가서 삼된 소가 되게 되면 뭐지 수남기 초다 냠돌이야 아니 예시기 초계생 제고 여버디 깔하고 싶으셔라 아니 삼은 제 마당하시 도스테나 톱 깔아야 니 세번에 시세야 요를 납스나 dom되고도 니코 대베나 남조직이 니 세요 거다슬라나 dom되고 요라 저사들이 망치와시다 dom되고래 누구여 데리가서 되서 가리네 dom되고라 가리네 슈퍼마켓 가서 그래 난좀 송하는 거리야 라도 따지 저디겨로 가리네 자제토네 가도 가리네 소소 좀 먹어야 가리네 소소 채 먹어야 매기 수치를 돼 데리가서 아마 주지서 검시디 차대야 돼 가도 거스는 답제 버렸다지 두고 봐 세상디 진짜 밥을 어디래 따디 말이야 냠면 쉬는 면하고 정도 되면 다르다 롱스 파바 다들 도랑이 요베스 okay so the main point here is that giving up meditation. So here it's translated as meditation in English. In Tibetan it says nyamlin. Nyamlin means practice in general. So it can mean practice of generosity, morality, diligence, meditation, patience, generosity, and wisdom, and so many, right? So there are limitless amount of practices to be done: prostration, generosity, reciting mantras, as well as, of course, meditation. So, but at the same time, this is mainly to the Nyamlin in Tibetan means practice in general. But here, Master Gambopa may be referring to meditation because this is an instruction given to people who wish to practice in hermitages. So for those people, if you are already decided or in hermitages, then it's better for you not to come down to mingle with the worldly life, at least until you have perfected your you have stabilized your mental state. You know, one might say Buddha came to the worldly life, right? In a sense, he came to the world, but before he came to the world, Siddhartha Gautama meditated for 6 years until he could reach enlightenment. And once he got enlightened, once he becomes so stabilized that nothing and nobody can unstill him. So he is always still, everlastingly still. When he reached that stage, the stage of unshakableness, then he came to the world. Then he came to teach people. Then he mingled with people. So similarly, even if you are in the meditation, if you are living in the hermitages, until you have gained certain confidence within yourself that no matter where I go, nobody can influence me. So in order to get there, it's not easy, right? You have to practice hard and you have to meditate hard. But to meditate, you need to learn, you need to study. So there has been back in the day in Tibet, I think that's 8th century, when Master Kamalashila and so there was this tradition from China where people believe that if you just close your eyes and think of nothing, then eventually the Buddha nature will pop up and then you will become enlightened. So this seems very convenient, right? It caters to today's generation. We want everything, in an instant. We want instant gratification on Instagram or on TikTok, or maybe in the supermarket. We want everything under one roof. So we go to a big giant supermarket and we can get everything we want within one big roof. Or better, on the internet, you just sit on your in front of your computer and then you click a button and everything you want is delivered to your home. So convenient. This is what we want. We don't have to move we don't have to move our body that much. So this is what we crave for, and this is very damaging. And so what happens here is that convenience is not always the answer to the problem. So therefore, in order to achieve enlightenment, one needs to meditate, and in order to meditate, you need to have fuel. The meditation has to be fueled by something. If you meditate without any thought or any understanding of or any knowledge, then you are driving a fuelless car without fuel. Any fuel, right? Whether it's solar fuel or bio, whatever. So without any fuel, it cannot last long. Eventually, it will just die out. So you need the fuel. The fuel has to be knowledge and intelligence. Sorry, knowledge, intelligence gathered from studying the Dharma, from the knowledge. So if it is, if you just close your eyes and sit, and then eventually your Dharma, Buddha nature will pop up just like that, then what is to do with all the teachings of the Buddha? Why would the Buddha need to teach all over India, all over the world at that time, which is basically India? So why would Buddha need to teach so many things? He would just say, okay, everybody just sit down, close your eyes, and that's it. I have nothing else to teach. So it's very simple, very convenient, right? But that's not the case. Buddha taught so many sophisticated layers and layers of different traditions and different methods of teaching. And there's a reason for that. Just merely closing your eyes and waiting for your Buddha nature to pop out will not help. So it sounds very convenient, but that is not the right way. 다들 뉴메 예시 미경월 도지 주베 예월 쳐바데 커딩 쇼고 쳐바드라데 랑도 랑기 쳐바인스 다 뉴메 예시스 두즈네 지단 셈 코랑기 랑신티 그치메 렙슈요 마레스 시거바 셈 세야디 지단 아주 멜론 장만 하시시 요래 다 이네 디갈야 아니 춘자메다 추셔두즈네 춘세고 추두즈네 멜론 나로라 잘라하 때문에 세고 차로 그래 가고 차로 뭐 차로 유두고와 인도 전에 셈 코랑기 랑신 오에세바 임바디 tar sem gi rangshin de ngo chho kwa di de kyeche shu de ta di ngo ma chho ba che shimbu tu shimbu min du ka bo re sha na bo re sha ning je mo tu ning je mo min du sa bo du chang mo du la ya de ge de chang mo lo ta azu ji deng ton sha de ge chang mo go ye de jo ba ya bo ma re ka bo re na bo re ne se bo re ka sa jang bu du zu bu du chang mo go ye de jo ji deng ton sha ba ne ine ya ta sem de ne lu ra chho ya ton sha ba ina an de ge de cham ra mang bo ju yo ba de ge de chang mo lo 디게들이야 셈 마샤바체 디게디 칸걸다 두지예메 조돌 두어 디인도전에 조디 셈 코랑기 랑고 쳐야 되다 조 레스틴도 전에 셈 코랑기 가서다 디 랑신 탑에 차디 못 쳐야 돼 개셔셔 디인도전에 딜이야 줘야 돼 내가 딜을 주마토 버린다 카딩 쇼가 차거든다 그래서 카딩 지나고 쇼지 풀도고 있어요 다른 거 쇼지네 그 쇼가 차서는데 그만 자자해로 하디도 지고레스 디 오디레다 now next is this is in regard to Buddha nature in a way okay, let me read it. Not to encourage the natural wisdom, but to disturb it by the elaboration of distraction like a bird with broken wings itself. Okay, so what it means here is that the main goal from a spiritual point of view, the main goal is to realize the nature of the mind. So if you remember, the nature of the mind is that it's lucid, clear, and it's cognizant. The mind can see other forms or other things, and the mind itself, by nature, the mind itself is clear and has the ability to see other things, other forms. So by nature it is clear, but it has been marred, it has been stained by temporary temporary stains. So from an ordinary point of view, having sophistication such as good, bad, soft, hard, tasty, not tasty, ugly, beautiful, these are very important from an ordinary point of view. From a worldly point of view, we need all of those things. Without those things, you will call somebody uncivilized, savage. So when you have all those things, you become sophisticated, you become civilized, right? That is how we think. But if you look at it from a spiritual point of view, especially from the Bodhisattva's point of view, Bodhisattva's practice point of view, which is to realize, which is to attain enlightenment, for which we have to kindle our Buddha nature, which we can do by imbibing the uncovering the very nature of mind, which is unstained. Mind is naturally unstained. We have temporary stains that is actually marring the mind, and so we uncover all of those, and we must place our mind in that unstained natural state of the mind. So if you cannot do that, then this is like Garuda with broken wings. So Garuda is regarded as the god of birds or king of the birds. So it's supposedly is a mythical bird which is very powerful, very big wings, and so he can, so even though if the Garuda breaks his wing, then he cannot fly. So this is the similar example. 타마디레샤 라만 군초기 콜라 밤에도 롱 제바테 부중 멘다 감바탄 자데 랑도 랑게 제바이스 다디 페제 딘제도 지면로 삼고도 지난 남정아서 긴디 지난 코스 드자네 노스고 유노 유벤조도 가서 노르지겔라 코스나 노르게 준다르바 코스나 노르게 준다레 딱 군조기 코르라 드세네다 계속 가가 차르바 군조라 타바 군조들 소미어와 당게 군조 최 군조 긴디 군조 소미어와 군조라 타베기 코르텔라 군조라 왕비 코르텔라 노르텔라 유노롱제 카리네 신도 사야 동야 딱 카리네디 군조기 노르텔라 군조기 코르스여와 남정아서 코르사 마서 직세야디 군조기 코르시 자시여마다 지난 코르스는 노르게 전다도 지레 따이네 라마 군조기 코르라 밤에도 쥐어바테 부중면다 감바다다디 밥서도 어디 디메로 상고도 베나 다 지게 소소이기 남요다 데르와 가서 코르 롱수 쥐어베 값서 아니 롱수 쥐어다 뭐 송고여와 아니 소소이게 주반냠네 따다지 체 소소 제고야 돼. 배나 긴도 군조도 보지 마이나. 다 상제 군조 다 쉬고야 거라요 말아. 다 긴도 군조도 보지 마이나. 긴도 군조 게 제수 떠와이나. 아니 긴도 군조라 다 파비기 랭겐저로 봐. 디다다지 주바이나. 배나 다 소르도 군요다 데 표야를 소가 되게디. 오하면은 나로 나스 쉬고요라. 또라 펫 덤바디드 오하면은 디하고 제수나 이 코스 차상도 사초고요래. 코르티 타비요다. 데라 남기 불량수도 쥐어봤다 하더니 망고지 요래 다베수기 쥐어봤다 된저 당어서 디 가다 거대 다 디겨래 거대 가서 쥐어 초고요 맞을 롱어요래 맞을 불량수 쥐어 초고요 디치그래 난 이베디 디레다오지 메로서 모두 군조기 코스에서는 변하다 단다다 변나 로바 쿠교데 나로라 아니 고베 군예 인생에 잡거든데 땅야 근데다 로바 가시나 도와 변나 서구 농구인데 가시라다 사람 가도와라 아니 지금 내 자신부인데 공부인데 내 자신부인데 제도와 근데 내가 군인 인스지 미장다데 망보념도도와 아시다 다 가드람 중용고도 가셔야 미장코랑 김규코랑 가즈나 미도네 시행아 주던데 아니 공부되게 군인이는 되기도 하고 김상코랑 근데 내 대류 전에 되게 보고 부도 상물로 구조 거디 롱스트리트가 그래서 내가 상마빠다 선반남다 돈이 줘냐면 샤마지 싱에이나 연구조 거디가 롱스트리트 되게 대만이 시 답변한 아주 배시 원나스다 도와내 제가도 삼삼 지기도 야가다 가리네 되게 아주 대화변 원 나렌다도 와라네 제가도 되스네 야가 남치도 인도도 치제 되게라 사동바 강리야 카다지샤 고무주니시데 샤하체 안데셔도 디지털로 누르기네 바로 지르세지 샤하시도 당아주 많이 하고라 아니 되네 다 가시기 타마고 장고 주주ang 아니 슈데 샤기요 다 니만 찍라 이제 고무기가 동데라 그래서 다디라도 전에 고주디 키제 냠도 롱스트리가 다 도주 체디다 구조기 고랑 차고라 자변은 공부루주기 내relapse 마비시에베나 내 이메일만 되바 공부루주를 다 차로바 공부루주를 못 차래 공부루주기 타교기 무이디 콘세 세베나 다다 디요 말바 근데들 다야디 내들 지게 베나 야숑기 베나 가서 그래 내다다 로버소소 숑기 베나 내도 나로 주드스네 가서 그래 라미 또체 지가 또체 나로 무실린 거래 한디 디요 가르스나 디기 조선 땅체 양디 저리게 보내 자 메도다 보내 자 사지디 고요 야고 수교로 디 코랑자들 팀 두고 써서 이물렘이네 고 교요만 다디도 맨로 삼고도 다디 노도리샤 So number 10 is carelessly consuming the property of the guru and the three jewels is like a small child taking fire into its mouth, which is self-accomplished. So I think this is in reference to the fact that there's a term in Tibetan called kor. So normally we really fear the word kor. So kor is nothing but the meaning of the kor means property. So property that belongs to property by itself is not a big issue, but property meaning clothes, fruits, money, whatever that belongs to the triple gem, the three jewels, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So when dealing with the property of the three jewels, that is a very one has to tread very carefully on this path. The thing. So, for example, as a monk, right, within the three jewel, Buddha, no question, Buddha. There's no question with Buddha and the Dharma. When it comes to Sangha, for someone who is a monk, whether as a monk can you take property of the Sangha? So in other words, can you take the offerings that were made to you? So this is, it all comes back to your own understanding, your own intention. So, your own conducts, physical as well as mental conducts. So you have, if you come to do your practices, if you conduct properly, if you conduct things properly, physically as well as mentally. So if you have the good motivation, the proper motivation to help sentient beings, and then with that you meet the requirement of the person who offers you the offer to the Sangha. So if somebody asks you to do Dharma practice, to teach or to pray, you go there with the perfect intention of achieving enlightenment, and then you do all the Dharma practices that is required of you, whether it is to look after a sick person, pray for a sick person, whatever you do, all those things, then whatever offerings made to you belongs to you. You can use that. But if you have wayward motivation, if your motivation is bent, or if your conduct is not proper. So conduct here means whatever activities that are required of you. So if you do not do those things, if you do not fulfill those things, then whatever offering that is made to you, from a legal point of view, from an ordinary point of view, yes, you came, you pray, so it belongs to you. But from a spiritual point of view, it does not. So you are, what happens, what we call this, which means using the property of the Sangha on credit. So you are using them on credit, which means you have to pay back, right? So this is like a credit card thing. So you have to pay back the credit eventually. So there's the debt there. You have to clear the debt. So if you do not conduct yourself properly, so by conduct I'm not talking about the physical conduct alone. So we are both spiritual, mental, and physical conducts should all be meted out perfectly, properly. And when you do that, then it is for you to enjoy, or whatever offerings made to you, you can keep them. But otherwise, there's this will have consequences. You will have to clear the debt. You are enjoying them on credit, which you have to pay the debt later. And I think this is in reference to this here, as well as in some remote places. Sometimes you go to like in Nalanda and some of the holy places where you go, and there would be like local people who actually are not part of the management team or anything, but they would just tell you, oh, this is the holy place of Buddha, this is the holy place of Nagarjuna, blah blah blah, and then they would, before you come, they would just rush there and put some katas and place some 10 rupees, 20 rupees there and say, oh, everybody comes and pray here, you come and pray here too. And then some gullible person will go there and do some prayer and place some money. So totally in a day, 100 rupees or 10,000 rupees, whatever was collected in the name of Nagarjuna, Buddha, Aryadeva, whatever, then that person actually pockets all the money themselves. So these things are very, very questionable acts, and these have very serious consequences. And just like I said here, you have to pay. So these you are enjoying all of these. It seems like you are enjoying those, but you are enjoying on credit, right? So you are on a credit line, and you have to clear the debt. The debt, the price is quite dearly, Yep.
Rinpoche,
Yep.
I have to make clear because you said that when with the proper conduct, with the
Yeah.
pure intention, pure motivation, we can
Yeah.
Dharma and help the other, require the Dharma and help them from the sick and etc. And then we can enjoy and can get their offerings and can enjoy
Yeah.
it. But
Yes.
for the monk or lay people,
No, even if you are a monk, if you do not pray well, if you do not have the proper motivation, then even though lay people will offer to the monks, from a legal point of view, from a worldly point of view, you can say, oh, this is offering to the monks, so the monks can enjoy it. But from a spiritual point of view, the monks have no right to enjoy it. Even if they enjoy it, it's on a credit line, so they have to clear the debt.
yes, okay.
Are we good?
Uh,
Even if you are a monk, if you do not do it properly, even as a monk, you cannot enjoy them.
if you I'm not clear. If you are a monk because of unstable network, if you are I'm a monk and the people offering me and we do not prayer and do not pray for them anything and we can get the offering.
Yeah. So if you are asked to pray, I mean, there are many. So there are different occasions, right? So sometimes monks were called and they just make the offering just like that. That's a different matter. If the monk is invited and the layperson asks monks to do some prayer and the monk doesn't do any prayer, or maybe he's reciting the mantra but not doing it from heart, then from a spiritual point of view, the monk is wrong. But you might think, oh, okay, the monk is doing everything right. So the monks, whatever dharma, spiritual activities that is required of the monk should fulfill them.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I think we have one question from last week. Miss Yan?
Yes, Rinpoche. Prostrate to Rinpoche. Question from last week. Tashi Delit Rinpoche, can you please tell us how to meditate on emptiness? Thank you. Con xin kính chào thầy. Xin ngài có thể cho chúng con biết cách thiền định về tánh không? Cảm ơn ngài.
Okay, right. Okay. So the meditation on emptiness. So when we talk about emptiness, emptiness does not mean empty. Emptiness does not mean nothingness. So nothingness and emptiness are different things. Nothingness means nothing. There's nothing, right? Nil, zero. But emptiness is when you say the room is empty, we are saying the room has no object in there. So either the objects are removed or the objects has been cleared out. So in the same regard, we have to clear out, we have to empty something, we have to remove something. So what we need to remove is the delusion of inherent existence, that all phenomena exist inherently out there from its own side, from its own on its own regard and from its own side. So that is the delusion that we have. So if we break it down, it seems like we do not believe in such things. But when left to ourselves, we think that everything is from out there, whether we are suffering, our problem, whatever. We feel like everything comes from out there. Somebody else did it. Oh, it's her fault. It's my father's fault. It's my mother's fault. It's my friend's fault. Because it's the fault of the mayor. It's fault of the government. The here and there. So always out there, right? So this delusion has to be emptied out. These delusion have to be cleared out. And so that is the meaning of emptiness. And so in this regard, we can meditate on emptiness on two aspects. So in this regard, as we said, since emptiness is not nothingness, so you cannot meditate on emptiness on its own by itself. It always has to do with something else. Meditation on emptiness has to be the emptiness of the cup, emptiness of the sky, emptiness of the Buddha. So it always has to be associated with an object. So emptiness of, so like empty room. You cannot say empty like that. So just like that, you have to say empty parking lot, empty house, empty cup. Similarly, emptiness also has to be associated with an object. So that object can either be person, self, or the possessions of the self, like the mala, the cell phone, whatever. Okay. So the most important and the easiest, the most effective thing is to do it upon yourself, the self. So shall I continue, or do you want to translate?
Depends on you, Rinpoche. It depends on you.
Yes.
It depends on you.
Okay. Continue. Okay. So now we will do it upon ourselves. So the first thing is to, since nothingness and emptiness are differentiated, so we know this, right? It's different. Emptiness does not mean nothingness. Oh yeah. Now in this regard, so for yourself, for example, call out your name, or maybe you say, okay, myself, me, or you can call your name by Tongkhor Rinpoche, or whatever your name is, you call out your name, and where am I? Let's say, where is Tongkhor Rinpoche? Right? So use that by your own name, that it's more relatable, it's more visceral when you do it with your own name. Now, where is Tongkhor Rinpoche? I know Tongkhor Rinpoche is not out there. So Tongkhor Rinpoche is in here. So is it in my heart? It is in my, we know that it's not in the hand or brain or anything. So when we look at ourselves, where is me? So where is me? Where is, so let's call myself TR, okay? Tongkhor Rinpoche, let's shorten it to TR. So where is TR? So TR is nowhere to be found. Whether you look from inside out, nowhere, you cannot find it. So you have to go detail by detail, in the heart, in the veins, in the blood, in everywhere, every aspect, there is no TR. But is it true that there is no TR? TR is there, right? Because TR's mother is there, TR's mother has sons, and so if you break out from that concept, then everything becomes nihilistic. So if TR is not there, then TR's mother is also not there, because the interrelation. Then there's TR's friends are not there, TR's students are not there, TR's monastery is not there, everything is not there. But that's not true. Everything is there. TR's students are there, friends are there, parents are there, monastery is there. So therefore TR must exist. But if TR exists, where is TR? TR is not in the computer, not on the table, not inside the table, not inside the body. Nowhere you go, you can find it. Not in the nails, not in the anywhere. You cannot find TR anywhere. So it does exist, but it does not exist independently or inherently on its own. It exists in relation to other forms and formats. So TR is there, Tongkhor Rinpoche is there as the speaker, as the teacher, as the son, as the friend. So in this regard, in relation to other objects and other people and other formats, TR is there. But on its own, it is not there. So this interdependency, this dependent origination, dependent arising, Dendel, this is how phenomena exist. So one must delve into this, one must meditate into this thing. So This is how you. So as I said before, meditation by itself, if you have no knowledge, then there is nothing to meditate upon. So this idea, this knowledge, when you have a proper understanding of this knowledge, then you must delve your mind into this method, and this is how you meditate. Now look, you meditate by looking for yourself. Where is I? Where am I? Who am I? So when I'm saying who am I, if you say, oh, I'm Tongkhor Rinpoche, this and that, is what we call conventional investigation or conventional inquiry. Oh, I am the son of my mother. I am my friends, this and that. I'm the friend of. I'm a tulku of Saramaya Monastery. This is what we call conventional inquiry. In the ultimate sense, who am I? Who is Tongkhor Rinpoche? Who is TR? Where is TR? Nowhere to be found, other than in relation to other objects. So if you say Tongkhor Rinpoche is not there by himself, but he is the friend of, he is the tulku of Saramaya, so therefore he exists in relation to Saramaya. Now the same can be applied to Saramaya. So where is Saramaya? What is Saramaya? Who is Saramaya? Right? My monastery. That's the name of my monastery. So where is my monastery? What is my monastery? Is the building the monastery? Are the trees the monastery? The monks are monastery? No. The monks are not the monastery. The trees are not the monastery. The walls are not monastery. The monastery is not to be found. If the monastery is not to be found, how can you find TR in relation to the monastery? So there, again, you have this emptiness. There is this vacancy. Vacancy. So this is how you look for. So looking for emptiness is not like searching, in the sutra it says, looking for emptiness. Searching for emptiness is not like looking for a cattle. When you are looking for a lost cattle, you are trying to find a cattle, right? So a cow. If you are a cowherd and you lost your cow, then you keep looking for until you find the cattle. When you find the cattle, oh, cattle is there. Oh, my cattle, my white jersey, my white cow, right? So you, sorry, not white jersey. My that is my black cow is there. My white cow is there. So this is how you find a cow. Or any object, like, oh, my phone is there. I lost my phone. Where's my phone? My phone. Oh, my phone is here, right? You're looking for something. That is how you find any ordinary object. But when you are searching for emptiness, you're not looking you're not looking in order to find something. Rather, it's like looking for a parking space in a way. So when you're looking for a parking space, you're not looking for a car. You're looking for the vacancy of a car so that you can go and park your own car there. So this is how you would, even though that is not the 100% accurate way of describing things, but it is the closest thing I can do for the moment. Now in this regard, when you have a proper application of meditation upon emptiness, upon the self, then you can apply that on the possessions of the self, your car, your phone, your mala, your clothes, everything. Then by possession, I mean your monastery, your family, everything can also be, you can utilize the same idea on everything else. And that way, you have the understanding of emptiness upon all phenomena. So this is the meaning of emptiness of all phenomena, not just the person. So usually in the text we say kansa kitame, chö kitame. Kansa is the self, person. By self in the Sanskrit as well as in Tibetan, self and person are synonymous, as the same thing, means the same thing. So searching for the emptiness of the self means searching for the emptiness of the possessor, the proprietor, the proprietor. And the proprietor and the property, right? Long su po and long jia. Long po is the proprietor, and long jia is the property. So first you meditate on the emptiness of the proprietor, the person, the possessor, And then when you have a clear understanding, when you have a smooth sailing, then you can shift to the property, from the proprietor to the property. And then you will have the understanding, you will have a complete understanding, full swing meditation, smooth meditation on the emptiness.
Remote.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So now that is how. Okay. Just to finish it off. I know it's a little bit long, but this is very important question, so I just put it there. So it's on Facebook, so you can watch it again to understand more. So since there is no inherently existing I or self, so the question arises: where is the self? Where is I? Where is me? So to answer that, in the Buddhist philosophy, especially in the highest Buddhist philosophical view, which is the Prasangika Madhyamika, they say that there is the designated I, the merely designated I, or merely I, simply me is there. So to find that simply me, if you keep looking for that me, you will never find it. But if you, what happens is, the great masters say, if you want to find who the real me is, then for ordinary people like us, it's better to go into some scary place or scary incident. For example, that is one of the reasons why some of the practitioners go to the cemetery to practice. So, not the only reason, one of the reasons. So I would just suggest that you do something stupid on internet, maybe if you post something that is contrary to, this is just an example. Like if you post something that is contrary to popular view, then people will start criticizing you and abusing you and so many things. And when that happens, when people start to abuse you, immediately the merely designated I, the real me or the I will pop up. And sometimes when I was a kid, I used to do this thing. We go to the fun park. I don't know what you call this. Amusement parks, amusement parks, and then they have this roller coaster rides, right? And it's very scary. And you feel like you're gonna fall down and die. I mean, you fear that you're gonna fall down, and when you have that fear, at that very moment you have to catch the merely designated I. So fear is there. Fear is an expression, not the I. So fear is experienced by the I, by the me, by the self. So when you are afraid, look for the person who's experiencing the fear. So if you're embarrassed, like for example, if you post something very embarrassing or maybe something very controversial on Facebook or on social media, people will start abusing you. And when that happens, look for the person that has been abused. Who is that person? Okay, I'm being embarrassed. So where is that me which is being embarrassed? So if you look for in that instance, then you will find what is called merely designated I. And that is the real me. That is not the me in the extreme view of inherently existing phenomena, but me as it exists in reality. I would also suggest that maybe you go, maybe this is not a good idea, but I jokingly say that you just go and throw a brick on somebody's car or maybe somebody's house or window, and when you break the car, then immediately the fear surfaces. And when the fear is there, then look for the person who is afraid. Where is that person? And when you find that person, that is the real me or the untainted me, the natural, the me in the natural state.
Thầy nói rằng cái câu hỏi vừa rồi nó tuy là nó rất là dài, câu trả lời rất là dài, nhưng mà thầy thấy rằng nó rất là quan trọng. Và nếu chúng ta muốn hiểu rõ hơn nữa thì chúng ta có thể chúng ta đọc thêm hoặc nghe thêm ở trên Facebook chẳng hạn. Và ở đây khi mà nói cái tôi hay là cái ngã ở đây thì nó thực sự là nó không tồn tại theo cái nghĩa tuyệt đối. Và ở đây trong triết học Phật giáo thì có nhiều các cái ví dụ như là trong chung quán luận, đặc biệt là cái chung quán cụ duyên, thì ở đây họ nói rằng là không có cái tôi, mà cái tôi ở đây hay cái ngã ở đây nó chỉ là được định danh hay được gán ghép hay là được gọi là cái ngã thôi. Bởi vì nếu như chúng ta đi tìm cái tôi, tiếp tục đi tìm cái tôi, còn nhìn vào trong bản thân mình và đi tìm cái tôi thì sẽ không thể tìm thấy. Và ở đây cũng có một phương pháp mà thầy có thể hướng dẫn chúng ta rằng chúng ta có thể đến các cái nơi mà rất là kiểu giống như là cái nơi mà bị ma ám ấy, những cái nơi mà đáng sợ, hay là những cái nghĩa địa chẳng hạn, chúng ta đến đó và chúng ta thực hành thì thực sự là lúc đó ở đây lúc đó là một cái cơ hội để chúng ta có thể trải nghiệm được cái sự sợ hãi khi phải ở những cái nơi đó. Và lúc đó thì chúng ta đi tìm được cái bản chất xem chúng ta thực sự là ai, chúng ta có phải là cái nỗi sợ hãi đó không, hay chúng ta là cái người sợ hãi, hay là thầy nói rằng qua đây chúng ta có thể qua bây giờ qua các mạng internet chẳng hạn, chúng ta hay vào mạng ấy và sẽ có rất nhiều những cái bình luận hay chỉ trích hay là chỉ trích hay nhạo báng chúng ta, thì cái lúc đó cái tôi của chúng ta nó bắt đầu nổi lên. Thì đấy là một cơ hội để chúng ta có thể tìm kiếm xem chúng ta thực sự, cái tôi của chúng ta thực sự ở đâu và là ai. Hay là chúng ta có thể đến các cái công viên mà các cái công viên thầy dùng các công viên mà nó công viên giải trí ấy. Lúc đó chúng ta cũng có các cái cảm giác mạnh và chúng ta rơi vào cái nỗi sợ hãi. Khi mà tham gia ở đó thì lúc đó chúng ta cũng nổi lên cái nỗi sợ, thì chúng ta cũng lúc đó chúng ta cũng là một cái cơ hội để chúng ta tìm kiếm được cái tôi. Và thực sự là chúng ta có cái nỗi sợ hãi, nhưng mà cái nỗi sợ hãi ở đây nó chỉ là một cái cảm xúc sợ hãi nó biểu hiện ra thôi, chứ ở đây nó không phải là cái tôi. Thì cái lúc đó thì chúng ta thực sự là chúng ta tìm kiếm xem cái tôi nó thực sự ở đâu. Nếu như mà ở đây chúng ta lại tiếp tục mà khi mà chúng ta tìm kiếm cái tôi hay là tìm kiếm cái ngã mà chúng ta bị sợ hãi, hoặc là lúc mà chúng ta bị nhạo báng chẳng hạn, thì thực sự là những cái cảm giác đó thì chúng ta có phải là cái tôi không, hay là chỉ chúng ta nếu mà tìm như vậy thì chúng ta sẽ không tìm thấy được là cái tôi nó ở đâu. Và lúc đó ở đây chúng ta sẽ hiểu rằng là đó chỉ là một cái tôi được định danh và được gắn ghép thôi. Và tương tự như vậy thì ở đây thầy có nói rằng chúng ta cũng có thể được lấy cái hòn đá, chúng ta ném vào ô tô hay là chúng ta ném vào nhà của người khác, và cái nhà của người ta hay là cái ô tô của người ta nó bị hỏng, bị vỡ kính chẳng hạn, thì lúc đó trong lòng của chúng ta nổi lên cái nỗi rất là sợ hãi vì chúng ta đã gây ra những cái hành động bể vỡ như vậy. Thì trong cái lúc mà cái tâm của chúng ta nổi lên cái nỗi sợ đó thì chúng ta cần kiểm soát hay là tìm kiếm xem ai là người đang sợ hãi, và cái nỗi sợ hãi đó có phải chính là mình không. Thì cái người mà ẩn sau cái nỗi sợ hãi đó thì cái chính là cái tôi thực sự, với chính là cái trạng thái bản nhiên của tâm thực sự.
Okay. We're good? Hello?
Hello, it's okay.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for listening so attentively. Thank you for paying attention to the Buddha Dharma. It's true that there's a lot of people who practice Buddhism or associate themselves with Buddha Dharma, Buddhism. But it's important, not just to be associated with the Buddhism in name alone, but through practice. And in order to practice, one needs to study. So what I have just spoken this is a Dharma talk. So what I have just explained, and let this be a seed so that I have sown within you. So what I have told is not necessarily all the information there. So this is something, it's more like an appetizer. So you go out and look for the buffet. So the Dharma is like a large buffet. So you go and find what suits your palate, what is good for your tummy or your belly, what is good for your palate, and what helps you, what is more nutritious for you, what nutritions do you need. So you keep looking and you do that. So, and again, I rejoice your interest in the Dharma practices. I'm really happy that you are putting efforts into the Buddha Dharma. I'm really happy, everyone. You people in Vietnam, in the United States, in Hong Kong, and everywhere, everyone who's watching online, and as well as people who will be watching this later on. Okay, and so I'm going to conclude here for today. And I think I need to take a break for this month. So at least for this month. So some things are coming up. So I will let you know. Miss Yan will let you know by December what's going to happen. So in November, this is the last teaching. Okay. So thank you so much, and I wish you all have a very good day, good week, good month, and happy life. And whatever practices you do, I pray, sincerely pray that it's very successful, it's very smooth, and that you will reach whatever result that you are aspiring for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rinpoche. Thank you.
Chair, can you please put up the slide, Miss Yan, for the dedication, please? Thank you so much.
Lama Sanche. King Salango.
Janjo semjo ye ba nama ye yoro ye ba nyambara me bara one wondo. We will do it 3 times, okay? Do you know the 7-line, so the 5-line ones with the Vajrapani also? So here on this slide, there's only 4 of them, but I'm gonna recite the 5-line one, which is on the 4th line comes the Vajrapani, which is Dubung Malu Jomze Sawenda. Okay, we will do it 3 times. So now, like before, on the 4 line.
so. Tiên bề nhiên bom chính bề biểu ngọc nam mong tự cơn lá trăng trời lô sang cho kỳ cho ma soi cho trên kế cho trên đam ba soi. Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you, everyone.
Maybe, yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Oh, thank you, Huang. Thank you so much. Thank you for your hard work. Very good, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Huang.